Okay, viewers, today we'll see concerning African history, top essential African history multiple choice items that prepares you for final exam for African history entrance exams. Okay, let us check yourself, test yourself. Let's begin. Question number 1. What was one major cause of the transatlantic slave trade in Africa? A. Spread of Christianity. B. Demand for labor in the Americas. C. Discovery of gold in Africa. D. Influence of Islam. Okay, the right answer is demand of labor in the Americans. So, number 2. Which regions of Africa were most affected by the transatlantic slave trade? A. North Africa only. B. East Africa only. C. West and Central Africa. D. Southern Africa only. Okay, the right answer is West and Central Africa. So this part of Africa, you know. Question number 3. Through which routes were enslaved Africans mainly transported to the Americans? A. Trans-Saharan routes. B. The Indian Ocean routes. C. Atlantic routes. D. Silk routes. Okay, the answer is the Atlantic routes. So this Atlantic routes, that was the middle passage, okay? Africa and the New World, okay? Here is the Atlantic, the middle passage. They crossed the Atlantic Ocean to reach to the New World. What was one negative impact of the slave trade on African societies? A. Growth of cities. B. Population decline. C. Improvement of education. D. Unity among states. Okay, the answer is B. Population decline, because over 12 million Africans, especially the youngsters, the productive age groups, were transported to or sold by African chiefs, so into the New World. By the way, the white peoples or Europeans were not only responsible for this. Most of the time, Africans themselves sold their brothers and sisters, okay, especially in the western part of Africa, to the slave traders. Question number 5. Which of the following was a product of legitimate trade in Africa? A. Guns. B. Enslaved people. C. Ivory. D. All of the above. His answer is C. Ivory. It was an ivory which was extracted from what? From an elephant. So it was in elephants. By the time, you know, the Ivory Coast is the name was derived from ivory, okay? Why was that? Because the name is given, there was access to ivory were in that direction, okay? So this was the point. The rest is not, because guns were from Europe, enslaved people. So during the period of the legitimate trade, slavery was abolished. All of the above is not the answer. So don't cheat with this question, okay? Don't be cheated. The answer is C. Question number 6. Which East African port city became an important... Number 6. Which East African port city became an important center of legitimate trade in the 19th century? A. Oyo. B. Elmina. C. Zanzibar. And D. Kilwa. Okay, the right answer is Zanzibar. You know, the present in Tanzania became a main source, a main center of what? A city that became center of legitimate trade. You know, it was flourished or benefited from this, okay, from this legitimate trade, a trade that was exported from Africa to Persia, India, and to the Arab world. Question number 7. What was the main motivation of European traders involved in legitimate trade? A. To spread religion. B. To gain profit. C. To colonize Africa. D. To end slavery. Okay, the answer is B. To gain what? Profits. So this was the main motives of European traders who came to Africa, okay, and involved in legitimate trade. By the way, concerning the legitimate trade, it was a trade, unbalanced trade. Why it was an unbalanced? Because most of the time it benefited the Europeans. Africans sold their materials or exchanged during the period under study, you know, in no dollar or euro during the period under study. They cheaply exchanged with materials that came from Europe. For instance, textile, guns, beverages, alcoholic drinks, cigarettes. So what that is? It didn't have any benefit for Africans, okay? Question number 8. Which group of white settlers first arrived in the Cape of Good Hope in 1652? A. British. B. Dutch. C. French. D. Portuguese. Okay. The answer is the Dutch people, the people of the Netherlands from Europe, you know, came by following or by accompanying the Dutch East Indian Company. So it was a company which sold their products from Europe, okay? However, later, after the end of their works, these people came first as what? As a guard, okay? As a guard means to protect the company from any attacks or any problems, okay? However, when things became stabilized or give a land in the southern part of Africa, the present-day Cape Colony, so these peoples began to no choice at all, okay? They were involved in what? In agriculture or farming. Question number 9. What was one consequence of white settlement for the indigenous people in South Africa? A. They gained more land. B. They were forced into labor and lost land. C. They became government of their regions. Okay, government of their regions. D. They controlled trade. Okay, the answer is B. B is the answer. Local peoples became what? Forced into labor and lost land, okay? As a result of this, a conflict where came into being or emerged, okay? Question number 10. Which system of labor did the Dutch settlers Good. Question number 10. Which system of labor did the Dutch settlers introduce in the Cape Colony? A. Wage labor. B. Mission labor. C. Slave labor. D. Sharecropping. So the answer is slave labor. Africans were most of the time the Khoi and the people there, okay, the Zulus became what? They became forced to be laborers in the agriculture fields of the white settlers or the Dutch, okay, and they established the Cape Colony there. Especially they produce different fruits. Thank you for watching my videos. We have completed this 10. I hope you will get 10 out of 10. Okay, if you miss one question, no problem at all. You are ready for the entrance exam of universities and you will know more about concerning African history. If you like this video, subscribe my channel, like it, share for the others, and comment in the if you have comment, put your comment in the comment section box. Have a nice time till the next video. Bye bye.